and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've reviewed the agenda and we'll see those presented. Is there any public comment from the previous meeting? Recognition and reports. Start with FC Taylor.
I'm Nancy O'Connor, and I had the opportunity to go on this trip.
And I'm Johnny McGraw, and I'm also on this trip.
And we got to do a lot of cool stuff. We went to Disney Park, got to see some things there. We went to the beach one night and swam and went to gift shops. Saw a lot of cool stuff.
We got to see this session. It was like the closing session where we saw like the people who did the fashion design and got to see them do a little runway. We went to Disney World without Nasia, because she couldn't come with us. And it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Thank you guys.
The microphone. All right, that's all we got for you.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
The trustee reports, we have can anybody go to MCEL October 15th through 17th?
No, I cannot.
Okay. I'll try to remember to visit with the others that aren't here. We need to come up with a float for homecoming. That's probably during your workday, Sam?
Yes, but I can send a copy.
Okay. So I don't know what the best way without wasting much time here, but maybe everybody think of ideas. Have you seen the flyer?
The flyer?
For, we'll send it to you. Okay. Then you can brainstorm.
How long do we have?
For it to the board.
2 weeks.
Yes,
It's
we did
the
the
week of the
20.
20th.
22nd.
22nd.
So the 26th is a parade. I know that the advisor and student council, their big emphasis is trying to get classes to do a good job on their floats, not just have a float, like raising the bar to be more decorative, not going back to maybe the days of tissues in the chicken wire, but a little bit more than just the float. So just know that's out there, so
Yeah.
maybe we set the standard.
You have concessions on here?
You can run the board to send for
Oh.
concessions.
I was like, I had to raise that part. So, we have the concessions sign-up sheet has been passed around and assigned to got some community groups, we've got student groups, we've got teams, we've got all that signed out on there. And last year we did a couple times of concessions. So October 11th was the day that looked like a good opportunity for the board, and that is October 11th is Saturday, and it is a volleyball game. I believe it's against Savage.
Then we need to come up with a reading under the lights meal too, so be looking at that.
I
I'll-
originally said I couldn't be there that day, but I can now, so.
But if you guys want to determine that tonight, probably.
You have to what?
Determine reading the meal lights, reading under the lights.
Tonight?
September
Okay.
18th.
It's next week.
Next Thursday.
Yeah, so probably yeah.
Does anybody have any ideas? I don't believe I'll be here.
But did we do sloppy joes last year?
I feel like going, as a
And make the
parent, I think the only
sloppy
thing with sloppy joes is it got really messy for little, like we had a lot of littles that were
Or do you
wearing
like
a lot of their
burgers
sloppy
and
joes.
hot dogs? That might be more friendly to
Last year we had all of our beef donated.
So I can donate some hamburger if we do hamburgers.
I have somebody to hit up for a hamburger also.
Like, do you remember how many pounds we did last time?
A lot.
The only thing I will say is there's a chance we might have just a few less, we might have more kids, less parents, because the hospital
Annual
board
meetings,
meeting is that night.
Oh.
So we may lose a few adults, but we didn't know that. So
What do you want to have with hamburgers?
macaroni salad.
What did you say?
Macaroni salad.
Macaroni salad.
Can you?
we could
Baked
try
beans
that.
and chips.
Come up with.
Baked beans and chips.
I'd say, I think a lot of people,
Do you
the kids are in here, did you guys like the new macaroni salad that we had for the first day of school? And, nobody remembers, have any idea?
Yeah, we don't know.
Really, the
No,
spiral
no.
one instead of the elbow noodle one? Nobody, any high schoolers in here? Wow, good job. Staff remember eating the new macaroni salad?
Was gone.
Okay, sorry. They were like a spring one that was like a zestier macaroni salad and not a traditional.
Maybe we just do hot dogs.
Hot dogs,
Hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, and
Chips.
I'll ask the library last year did
The
dessert,
cookies, yeah, the desserts, yeah.
and so we'll see.
Hamburger,
if
hot
they-
dogs, chips, and dessert, so some kind that we'll figure out. Okay. Okay, we'll all chit chat about that. Okay. Superintendent report.
All right, so we have homecoming coming up on September 22nd to the 26th. A lot of fun activities and stuff planned that week. Student council's been working hard on that. Ms. Kittleman is the student council advisor. Nasia O'Connor is the student council president, and Portland is the vice president. So they've been kind of orchestrating a lot of that good stuff, and so exciting to see that. Field trips, we have field trips coming up, just so we have our field trip with Hewlett coming up, and we're evolving it every year. So this year, our 8th graders are leading the presentations, activities, different stuff here for the kids from Hewlett, and vice versa. The Hewlett kids are actually leading the tour at Devil's Tower and those things. So trying to get them to be more understanding, our kids to understand their own place we live and place to live, all the history here. And so they will spend a little bit of time they'll spend about a couple hours out at Medicine Rocks, and then they go to the museum. So we're gonna have them broke up into kind of a mix of different, so they're not all in the museum, but but there'll be some at the museum, some at the old house, schoolhouse, some at the orchard there, and then some at the Veterans Memorial, with kids kind of moving them through all of that. As long as, this is next week, so we're pretty safe, but hopefully, as long as weather doesn't change on that. We're sending our littles, our K-1-2 are going to the apple orchard by Willard, and they're kind of excited about headed that way. We got reading under the lights there. Again, the student council. We have a teachers committee, so the committees have been super hard at work. I'll hit on that. We got teachers and paras and whatnot all kind of organizing a lot of different stuff this year. So they've been working on that. The book is Pencils on Strike, and so we have lots of fun decorations, and it should be a really good night there. Night at the museum, just as a planning point, is November 6th. They have another author coming in, and they will also have we also have books to give away at that. I mean, it's one of those things that the more books we put in front of kids, and especially the books we combine with parents and grandparents reading, the more it takes room for kids. So I'm excited to keep working on that. This year, we at the end of the day, and we have some kiddos sitting here, and they might even want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. But at the end of the day, the last about 14 minutes of the day, we do end of the day jobs that kids signed up for, and they change at the quarter, and they have kind of taken ownership of that. Teachers, paras, classified, all staff is assigned a group of kiddos. Some of us have 1 or 2 kiddos. I think Branson is the winner of this game. I think he has like 6 or 7. Because he's got kids doing buses there, cleaning out buses, washing windows, just all the little things that you just never have enough time to do. But pride in our school and community and the area around here. We got people working in. We got a couple of students working in the annex, cleaning the annex. We've been in the annex in the last 30 years. It's shifted and gotten better, but they are meticulously going through stuff. And so it's been fun to see. If you come into the school at 3:30, if you happen to be around and stop by at 3:30, you're going to see the kiddos just going. It's not a matter of the teachers harassing them or barking at them. They kind of just go, and they're grabbing stuff to clean windows and do the buses and do the commons. It's fun. We're still working on the quality of, say, window cleaning, so we're not going to hire ourselves out for any, like street-free windows yet, but it's part of the process of taking ownership of that. And last piece of that puzzle is committees. Teachers at the end of last year signed up for committees as far as what interested them and what they kind of had a little bit of like in. And so the committees have been meeting over the first couple weeks, from reading under the lights to our safety day coming up. That'll potentially be in October, and we'll get information out there. To Veterans Day, to all those kind of things, so that they, with the staff as well as then having kids lead that charge as much as possible. And the first month of school is just almost in the books, and it's been rolling merrily along, minus a lot of kids sick. So write that as a note when we start talking about next year's calendar, because it's absolutely worth considering, coming out of fair week, how many kids we had sick, and then how that just kind of has hung on a little bit, just kick off this year. So, yeah, that's fun.
Carol, do you have anything to add to yours that you didn't put in there?
Do you need me to talk about it, or are you guys just okay with it?
Yep, we're okay reading it. Just wondered if you had anything to add.
I don't know if I talked about working with Alex for doing a hygiene day with grades 3 through 8 on October 6th.
Good job.
Yes. That was about the only thing I think I did not add.
Thank you.
Your parent data is on there, right? Yeah, and I do have a flyer for that. I'm gonna try to do a class to teach parents about Infinite Campus, so they can.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that way I can hopefully get some parents signed up that don't have, you know what I mean, that don't have access. I had one today that was like, I don't know how you can get on here. So.
Thanks. Do you have anything extra to add, Branson? Okay, and we'll move along to, is there any public comment on non-agenda items? Going to old business, policy 3510.
So, we have visited about this policy over the last couple, 2-3 months, as far as what does it look like for students outside of our county that do not reside in our county? And we waded through a lot of information on that. I feel like from my chair, I would make the recommendation that we adopt the policy as written, that follows the MHSA policy and limits, you must be a resident of our county with the caveat that we grandfather current students that have been part of our program, that we grandfather them in. That would be my recommendation.
That we grandfather them in till,
The end of the year.
is there any board discussion?
So I looked up some information on the law and policy. So it is printed out. I think everyone has a copy. There's copies for those of you in the public as well. It is extracurricular activities. It's a user guide on how we report our A&D. And an extracurricular activity is defined as, if you look at the second bullet, it lists FFA as extracurricular. In the policy that we're talking about, is talking about extracurricular activities. This would be our current policy that you must be a resident in the county. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. And then there's also the Senate Bill 72. And these were adopted in 2021.
And is this 72 just
It
talking
just
about
is
the
about-
money?
Yeah, it's about the funding. And our clerk could probably touch on that a little bit better. But that's what the 72 is about, is the funding. But in prior discussion, we had talked about what falls under extracurricular activities and what this policy, who it's applicable to or what programs it's applicable to. So I just wanted to bring to your attention that FFA is considered an extracurricular activity.
Brittany, do you have anything to add with your understanding of these?
So I think it was in July when we talked about it. I called OPI, so Office of Public Instruction, and talked to their reporting unit, just said, where do we stand, what does this look like? Their guidance was, they didn't have anything that says they couldn't. The biggest thing was that we couldn't report them for the funding. So Senate Bill 72 talks about the funding allocated for homeschool students within your district to participate. You're required to report them as extracurricular activities, and that is the 1/16 of your A&D funding. When I talked to Nicole Fiwat, who's been with OPI for a number of years, she couldn't find anything that says we can't allow it. It has to be within your own policy itself because it's not an MHSA sanctioned. It's its own FCCLA, FFA, PPL, the sanctions that you just cannot report. You cannot say that they live there and get the funding for them. And so that was her biggest thing. And the guidance that I was given on my side of it.
And I would throw in there that this whole process started with the MHSA allowing kids to participate in activities, basketball, football, track, those things.
And what year was that?
2022, I believe, off the top of my head.
It was 20.
I think it was before that.
21.
Well, it was legislative was 21, but then
Yes.
it came into play fiscal year 22.
Fiscal
So
year
21,
22.
22 was
Okay.
the first year.
And so that specifically was addressing sports, and so MHSA is the governing body of that. So, I mean, again, we are truly, based on all legal counsel in this, kind of a gray area. because this is an activity that is not governed by an agency. So that's where MHSA comes in on this other piece is why we started on this policy path. So now we have this other piece, FCCLA, FAA. I mean, we could potentially have other things down the road, but right now those would be the two that directly fall. And so based on all those conversations that we've had, not like definitive guidance. So the good news is, I guess I'll say, I feel like the good news is it leaves us to do what we think is best. The bad news is there's not like, okay, this is what you have to do based on state law or state this. I mean, it's up to us to decide.
So the way you understand this one is that this is only talking about A and B, not,
AIM reporting guide is only for what gets reported to the state for A and B.
okay, it doesn't have to do with whether you allow people or not. Okay. Is that how you see that?
Yeah, after further clarification and doing some more research and reading the policy, that is applicable to A and B.
Okay.
My biggest point on that was in past meetings, we had talked about FFA was considered intracurricular. That was the interpretation, and maybe you guys can elaborate more on that definition. But this specifically says it's extracurricular, which we have a policy for. So that's where, to me, it's pretty, it's spelled out for us. But I think they have clarification on why it potentially qualifies as intracurricular in our district. So maybe you guys want to elaborate.
So to be part of FFA, you have to be, we don't have a specific FFA class, okay, but you have to take A classes to be enrolled in FFA. So in that sense, that's where the line of intracurricular versus extracurricular changes. So if it was extracurricular, you wouldn't have to be involved in any sort of A classes, any sort of those things. Intracurricular means you're in A1, A2, those classes. You're taking one of those classes. So with that being said, any of our students that we enroll that are out of district, that's one of the pieces we start down is where are you getting that A class at? Where are you taking the A class from us or sellers are taking it? How are we going to ensure that stuff?
So can you explain your view on it again, that the kids that are in it now can go ahead and be in it, but from now on?
Correct, because what my biggest thing is if I had a student that was in this, involved in this, and we could have that conversation with the student and or families and say, hey, just so you know, you are homeschooled or you are, even if you're just in our school, if you exit our school, that you won't be allowed to participate, just like you're not going to participate in our basketball team. This situation is unique because the students were already part of FFA, already doing some of the fundraising, already doing part of the leadership, already doing all these pieces. So to change the rules now seems like, it just doesn't seem right. But if we change the rule moving forward, then the current students, but any other student will also, as well as families. And that's probably something they need to consider whether life decisions happen.
His recommendation was current students till the end of the year, end of the school year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you have thoughts on it, Seth?
Yes.
Is there any other board discussion?
Madam Chair, are you limiting, what minute are you gonna do for the public
3 minutes.
comments? How many minutes? 3 minutes? Okay. Would you like me to time for you?
Sure.
Okay.
Is there any public comment?
Yes. Both Ainsley and Weston Hobway have been part of my chapter since the beginning of last school year.
We have to
Sorry.
refrain from names.
My apologies. These young people have been part of my chapter. They have worked very hard at not only competing, but fundraising for us. They are as much of a chapter as any one of these other kids sitting here. Now, they don't take classes from me. They take classes online, which is an A class. So they technically, according to Montana FFA, they are allowed to be in an A class or be an FFA because they're taking online, and they can choose the school of their choosing. I went to the FFA Board of Directors, which is a bunch of teachers from throughout the state, to get their approval to make sure that they realize, hey, these kids are no longer living in our district. Is it okay if they stay with our chapter? And none of them had a problem with it. There were some questions I clarified for them, and they said, we don't see an issue with it. Okay. These kids were living on the south end of the county to start with at the beginning of last year, and circumstances required them to move with their families to another county and move again. And they've tried to come back here, but housing wasn't available, and so they're currently residing in Fallon County, but still wish to be part of this chapter where they've made their friends. Not that they can't make friends elsewhere, but sometimes you just bond with each other. And so I've had a conversation with some of the students here, and the students even think they're a great asset to our chapter. One of them is an officer on my FFA team, and I had 8 applications turned in last spring. I had 8 kids interview, and I gave out or had a committee select 8 officers to put 8 offices to put those students into. They're great about going to the meetings. They're great about making sure they fulfill their officer role. They've done the fundraising just like the rest of the chapter. And so I feel that it would be important that we give these kids an opportunity to stay with our chapter. When they compete in a contest, they usually rank very high in that contest. In order for a district team to move on to state, they have to be in the top 50% of our district. There are 10 teams in our district, and so they have to be in the top 5. Those 2 individuals have pushed our kids to better themselves by helping them study, by encouraging them, helping them with livestock reasons and that kind of stuff. They were on 5 teams that went to state last year. And, one of them won the horse judging contest at state level. Okay. And so that excitement was seen from her on the stage, but all the kids from Carter County were cheering for her. So I just encourage you guys to, I know it's a tough decision, but I really believe that they would be a great asset to keep in our chapter.
Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
Is there any other public comment? Public comment? Is there any other board discussion or motion?
Would you recommend it just this year, or would you like them to think that they should be able to stay until they graduate, or they're already in?
I would like to see them be able to stay until they graduate. Ainsley is currently at a junior level, right? And Weston at a senior.
Senior?
So he'll be done at the end of this year. She would be 2 years, and I would really like for them to be able to stay for that 2-year period, if possible. I will accept them for a year if that's all I can get.
I think that it would be nice to have them till they're done, but as a board, I don't feel like that we can go against what our policies say. Cause that's what we're held accountable to follow.
With me, it's not about these particular kids.
Well,
It's
not.
about, who else would you maybe wind up that isn't this quality or whatever, and you kind of set a precedence of what would have to happen then.
Or you set a precedence that you're not gonna follow your policies.
Can I ask, is this policy in place currently? I mean, if you do the grandfather thing and put them in, because I was under the assumption that this policy is being worked on, right? So it's a new thing. You grandfathers these kids in, and nobody else gets to come in after that. I don't go out and recruit for kids from out of district.
No, this policy has been in
This
place.
is since 23. Well, that These when it was revised. It was adopted in 2021.
So it specifically talks about the extracurricular activities. And so that's where we were discussing the extracurricular and intracurricular.
And
But this
FFA
one's
is
in-
intercurricular.
Not defined by the state.
Not defined by the
The
state.
state law defines extracurricular.
That's where it gets,
But yes, the clarification was helpful with the ag courses and why it would be considered something else, but yeah, the state defines it as extracurricular.
I'm gonna go down this path again of saying, as a board, as the superintendent and the class advisor, I think there was a huge disparity in clarity in this policy. And so, again, I will say it's like selling real estate to somebody and not being honest with them about it. So when this conversation started a year ago, if we weren't aware of this, and granted, it's a very unique situation, but going in, if Joe or Sally or Fred came to us and said, we're going to join the chapter, or homeschooled or whatnot, saying, okay, just understand that if you exit our county, yes, we'd like to have you in our county. We want you to stay, we want a job, or we want you here, but if you leave, that you will no longer be part of our program. For lack of a really bad example, there's a reason there's Miranda rights in place. You have to tell people that they have a right to. And I could not have answered that question, nor do I think the board could have answered that question for these students to say, just so you know, yeah, you can go ahead, but if you leave, we're not sure, but we'll probably just know. So I think that clarity for us is a big deal. That clarity for us allows us to not set precedent in this case, because we know that any other student walking into this, Mr. Whitney is going to be very well aware of it. I'm going to be very well aware of it. The board's going to be very well.
So in our packet from August, MTSBA, they gave us information in regards to this. And it talks about extracurricular activities, whether it qualifies for A and B. So keep that in mind when we talked about this just being A and B, maybe the user guide is, but this applies regardless if you're getting A and B or not. Then on page 2 of that, it talks about if the objective is to deny participation, you're better off labeling the clubs as extracurricular. Then the law is very clear. So that's just something to re-review. And that's just a little piece out of what they said, so. This is also, I would assume, in our minutes from the last meeting, if anybody would like to review that.
I move that we adopt our policy, and we grandfather our students in until they graduate. Because it was a gray area, it wasn't clear, and FFA does most of their own fundraising. So our A and B is not that important for the FFA.
Would you like to clarify your motion so I have it correctly?
To adopt the policy and grandfather our students in until they graduate.
So you want to clarify this? You want to add to the policy, or you want to leave the policy as is and grandfather? Because the policy is currently not changing unless you
Right.
add that extracurricular portion and define it separately.
Can't we just leave it as is?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. That's why I'm asking for clarification on what the change is even. So to leave the policy as is. And grandfather the current FFA students until graduation.
is there a second to the motion?
Motion dies.
So motion dies. Is there any other discussion or a motion?
I'd like to clarify, if you look at Montana OPI website, FFA is an intercurricular organization, not extracurricular.
She's looking at Montana Code Annotated, which is state law.
State law.
So it, I just gotta pull it up, there we go. 20-7-306 is what she's referring to. Oh, sorry, 20-9-311, not 20-7. So to read it for everybody, section 20-9-311 defines extracurricular activity as, for the purposes of this section, extracurricular activity means a sport or activity sanctioned by an organization having a jurisdiction over interscholastic activities, contests, and tournaments, or an approved career and technical student organization pursuant to 20-7-306, or a school theater production. That is what 20-9-311 means.
So I would,
I was going to make a motion. on
then
this
I
one.
will not speak.
Okay, I move, I make a motion that we add intracurricular activities with the same requirements to our current policy 3510, with an exception to grandfather any participants that are currently enrolled through the end of this year.
Is there a second to the motion?
I second that.
Sam's made the motion to add intercurricular to policy 3510 to go right along with extracurricular activities. And grandfather our current FFA kids till the end of the school year. Is there any public comment?
Did you want to come up here?
Well, of course, I would love to be able to finish out all of my school year here. I would very much appreciate this specific one, as I am currently an officer on the team. And if I were to have to move chapters, I wouldn't have that opportunity. And having the office sets me up to have the opportunity to apply to be a state officer, which is one of my goals within FFA.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Any other board comment?
Yeah, I would like her to finish because if she was just a freshman, but hanging her senior year with no chapter, just kind of seems like you're jerking the rug out from under. Just, I will.
Sam made the motion to add intercurricular to go right along with extracurricular activities and grandfather our current FFA students till the end of the school year. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Rena second motion. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Some new business.
I stopped you for just half a second, I should have clarified this. You want me to just title it with the title as extra and intercurricular, correct?
I believe that
Or
was
that
what we had
whole-
discussed previously. There's a sample.
There's a whole section, not the added section, right? Not the whole added section.
It's,
Sorry, I asked it before you.
no, it's exactly how I interpreted it, the extracurricular and intracurricular.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, not the section at the end. We're changing section 3 to say, section 3 and 4 to say both. Or 4. Section 4 to say both, participation in district, extracurricular and intracurricular.
Correct.
Got it, thank you.
Move to new business. Mr. Whitney, do you want to speak about out-of-state travel?
Yes. We usually, the FFA will travel to Indianapolis for a national convention every 2 years. This is the year that we would travel. We would like to leave the 26th of October and return that next Saturday, Saturday, November 1st. A lot of times we'll figure out a route on the way down that allows us to take in some agricultural tours. We toured Sukup grain bins, Vermeer, Baylor plant, brake factory. One year we actually got to stop and see their trenching facilities or trenching factory, and so gives kids a first-hand look into some of those manufacturing processes. This year we're looking at maybe touring a cheese factory or a large dairy. Like to give the kids opportunities to see something that is not just here, or not here, or they don't see every day. And so with the board's approval, we would really like to go to Indianapolis again this year. They have a trade show that is outstanding, from college vendors, the shopping area, whatever. It's amazing. And to see 40,000 blue and gold jackets in the same place is just something that is outstanding. And I think it's a great eye opener for our kids from Carter County. So I would really like to be approved to go.
Thank you. Any board discussion? Is there any public comment? Public comment? Any board discussion or motion?
I move to approve the FFA to attend nationals in Indiana.
I second.
Yeah. Who wins?
Wherever you want it.
Rena. Phoebe made the motion to approve the FFA to attend nationals in Indiana. Rena second the motion. Is there any public comment? Public comment. Board discussion. Phoebe made the motion to approve the FFA to attend nationals in Indiana. Rena second the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Policy updates.
So, yeah, you have a lot of updates in front of you that are all part of.
Oh, you guys have to stay for policy updates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the two of us.
Yeah.
There's three.
Three.
I wouldn't if I was you.
So, those are, the first piece of that is the policy notes from NTSBA about the legislative changes, that the adjustments we have to make, so those adjustments are added into the current policy that we have.
No, I'm ready.
Sam,
Yeah, okay.
what you got?
Absolutely.
So policy 3510. In looking at that, under the number 6, intracurricular activities.
Let me get to it. You're good. I just,
It's a.
Got it.
Okay, so number 6, it's talking about grandfathered students. But this is for students that would have already met the criteria, correct?
Okay,
Criteria of on number 4.
no, so number 6, so the other changes in here, the 6 was what you guys were talking about earlier.
Okay, so
I
this isn't, thank you,
no,
I
I'm so
was
sorry.
really confused when I read this, I was like, no, I'm
Exactly.
wondering why we're doing this item before this.
It doesn't let me do 2 changes in their new policy, I'm sorry,
That's
in
okay.
their policy platform, when I go make a change, and I'll just make one and not be able to edit it again until I accept the changes.
This
So-
is the one we talked about
That's what we
tonight
just talked
already. We already made a motion, okay.
Sorry, so the
No, that's
other
okay, I was,
comments are the changes.
thank you, I was like, you know what I was thinking.
Exactly, when you started reading, I'm like, oh no.
Okay. I don't think I had notes on anything else, except I do on identity instruction, sexuality instruction and or identity. Is that state law that they're both in there?
My understanding is a heading change with this last legislation.
That's what I wondered.
includes both of
Okay.
them.
Thank you for the clarification.
Somewhere in here also, maybe it's one of these ones.
Which one was that?
It is 2335.
Yes, 2335.
The human sexuality instruction and identity instruction.
While she's looking at that, I want you guys to know this, that policy 1210 does allow your chairperson to make a motion
Yes.
now.
Oh,
Yes. The
yes.
chairperson has the right to participate in all board meetings and is equal to other trustees, including the right to make and second motions. So that is a big change for us.
Thank
since that's always been
Which
something
one?
we've watched. Policy 1210 is
1210.
like your second policy.
How
And
did
then
I miss that?
1310, I think it's up to the board in our motion, if how many times we want to have a reading before it's final, correct?
So currently,
We do two?
for new policies, it is 2 readings. And we have typically done forms as one, just because forms are usually very straightforward and already follow the policy, but policies have always been 2. So if you guys would like to stay with that, I included all 3 options, but I feel like that's been pretty good for us.
I would say my preference is two. It gives the taxpayers and community to have public comment as well. After we look at something and then.
Maybe a little more thought for us.
Yep,
too.
and then a little more talk for the board and whatnot.
I think 3 gets out of hand. I mean, if we had an
That's all.
issue, we just take it.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you can amend policy, so you could bring it back if needed afterwards about it, so. I would prefer to.
Any other discussion? Is there any public comment? Public comment? Any other board discussion?
So we have the option to leave a policy as is, or we need to adopt it.
These are
These are the required ones, right?
These are the required ones
Thank
per legislation, correct,
Thank
that are
Okay.
currently in place in our current policy.
And that we're required to update. Okay?
So there's nothing we can do about it, really.
correct.
Yeah.
But you have to adopt it.
But I appreciated this MTSBA policy notes. That was really helpful.
Yeah, it was. Very.
In reading the policy and kind of knowing.
Yep.
What changed. So thank you for doing that.
I was trying to include those, this one was a lot better, some of them that come out are gibberish, so this one was done really well, so.
And find that.
Is there a motion?
You can make a motion.
Oh, she's saying it's yours because you're the policy.
I'm the policy, yeah, I had to find the policy that, okay. I move to approve the policy revisions as presented with the selection in policy 1310, the option two, to have second readings.
I'll second that.
That was 13, or
13,
1310, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sam made the motion to adopt the policy revisions and go with option 2 in policy 1310 to do 2 readings. Phoebe seconded the motion. Public comment. Public comment. Sam made the motion to adopt the policy changes, choosing option 2 in policy 1310. Phoebe seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Policy, first reading. Mr. Captain?
So a couple big things, a little bit about human sexuality and instruction in there. Basically, again, highlighting that we are responsible for making sure parents know that they can opt out of that. And then if there is any formal, making sure that they're aware of formal, like if we have a presentation or somebody coming in to do a presentation, that they have.
This is opt-in. This is the opt-in.
Right, but I'm saying that they don't have to, like, we have to make them wear it either way. I mean, we're supposed to, which I hate to say that, it seems like common sense saying, like, why wouldn't we make them wear? The other piece of that policy is on, the other piece of that is looking at the non-voted on levies. And so thinking about the non-voted in levies, kind of like the bond, that when we are adjusting any of those adult ed, transportation, tuition, reserve flexibility, we need to put that information very transparently, saying we are increasing it, this is the dollar, $100,000, just like we did with the bond. This is what it's gonna cost taxpayers throughout the county, the best. I mean, similar to what happened this year, but our best estimate, this is what the increase would be, this is what the decrease would be. So that people know that, even though those are non-voted on levies, that they, it's very clear, that is, I think as all of you can appreciate, a lot of school finance can become very skewed, it can be very muddy, and it's hard to follow, and so trying to make that, there was a bill this session to essentially do away with non-voted levies, which I'm very, very happy that we didn't do away with that, because it would, we'd be in a cycle repeatedly of running elections and those kind of things. So this gives us a way, this is kind of the in-between on that, to make sure we're doing our job to let taxpayers know, like, we increase this or we decrease this, and then be able to answer why as well.
And remember, these are the estimations that go out in March. So this has always been required by law. The law has now changed to include the 100, 200, or the 100, 300, 600,000 houses. Before we talked about the number of mills, and that's what's changed, the big part of it. So now they're putting in policies, if people are calling it correctly. If you don't put it out, you cannot increase your mills in August. So if you forgot to run all your ads and notify your public, you can still run your levies, you should not increase them. That's right.
Is there any board discussion? Any public comment? Public comment? Motion?
I move to approve the first reading of the policies as presented.
I'll second that. Sam moved to approve the first reading of the policies as presented. Lisa second the motion. Is there any public comment? Public comment? Board comment? Sam made the motion to approve the first reading of the policies. Lisa second the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bus stop edition.
So just a simple courtesy stop on the way out of town at Tillman's. Not always, but there's times that the boys are dropped off at grandpa's house, and so we have to have that stop designated to stop if they're gonna stop there at all, so. So I would recommend that we have this on.
Any more discussion?
Is that, what is the limit? Is it 6 miles out of town? That
So
would provide service?
It's 3 miles.
It's 3 miles.
So we currently have, this would make the 4th courtesy stop, we have 3 courtesy stops.
Because
on
there's
that
enough
bus.
room.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep,
It's
Thank
a
you.
bus.
Yep, it's a big bus.
okay.
Any public comment? Public comment? Board comment?
I move to approve the courtesy stop as requested.
I second.
Phoebe made the motion to approve the courtesy stop as requested for the Ridgeway bus route. Rena seconded the motion. Is there any public comment? Public comment? Phoebe made the motion to approve the courtesy stop as requested for the Ridgeway bus route. Rena seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'm sorry I couldn't be in Ridgeway again. While I was typing too.
You
I can hear this ringing in the back of my head.
know that I've told you that for like 5 years before Rena told you that.
It could have only been a year because I was only my 3rd contract. Okay, 2 seconds, 'cause I was way behind.
Rena.
Okay.
Chaperone edition.
Yeah, just recommend adding Jessica Malinowski to the chaperone list.
Any discussion? Public comment? Public comment? Motion?
Move to approve the chaperone addition as presented.
I second it.
Sam made the motion to approve the chaperone edition as presented. Phoebe seconded the motion. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Board comment? Sam made the motion to approve the chaperone edition as presented. Phoebe seconded the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Classified hiring.
I was gonna say, if you're on the job, I don't have that.
Here you go, let me, here. I don't have it either. I don't know what I did.
Give it on.
Yeah, I don't have it either.
You guys don't either?
We don't
What
have
don't
it.
we have?
Meant that was the
No,
list.
the classified hire. I wonder if the copier stopped and I just like realized that.
Classified?
I was going to ask you that yesterday when I was looking through this.
Is it on,
It's
it's
attached
attached?
online.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah, it's
So you're-
And it's
attached.
online too.
Can we click it and look at it on
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what
You got it, thanks.
we have some audience here.
Sorry.
That's
an easy one, but just-
Someone to click through.
Oh,
Is there,
Is this what happens when I,
can that be moved back a little bit? The-
we can
Yeah,
turn
we can
it,
turn it.
it turns, just push against the wall, Phoebe. Push on this side. There you go.
Thanks.
If he has it pulled up on a second screen, drag your mouse over here, Carol.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Somewhere. If it's right or if it's left, but it's somewhere. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Nope, down one. Lower up. Whoa, oh gosh. Too far. There we go. Keep your document if you want. Sorry, make it bigger. It's in.
So two pieces to that puzzle, part of our Montana REAPS grant, we have written into that it is professional development, and part of that professional development is working with a preschool. And so we need to have Amy Neese essentially on our list so that she can be paid out of that grant fund. So her, like, anybody we have coming in, we're paying them an hourly wage on that. So she's currently not on our list. And so we need to have her on that list so that we can actually pay her. She spent a couple days with us already. And so, and she'll spend some more time with us throughout the next couple of years working on that. That's part A. We've had the concession manager position open. And so we had a couple people that. And so it worked out that we feel like we have a couple good candidates for that, and one being hired as the main concession manager, and then the second one being our sub on those days. And remember, those concession manager is not a contract, it's an hourly wage. And so if we have somebody in place subbing for it, that then they get that hourly wage. We want 2 people on that salary as well. So recommending to hire Mariah to be the concession manager and Dan to be our substitute concession manager.
Before, didn't we just have a flat rate we paid them?
We paid them a stipend.
There's a stipend, because it was a part of the CBA.
It's, okay, now it's not, and so therefore it's not.
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any board discussion? Any public comment? Public comment? Motion?
I move that we hire Amy Neese and Mariah and Danny for the jobs they've applied for.
I'll second that. Rena made the motion to approve the classified hiring. Lisa second the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oh, public comment. Public comment.
Oh,
I'm skipping. Okay. Rena made the motion to approve classified hiring. Lisa second the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I was trying to read the superintendent recommendation for the accreditation plan.
Just kidding.
Accreditation plan.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with a random tidbit of information, just be aware to us today, and I will know more about it after Wednesday with the superintendent's meeting. OPI is its own work in progress, and obviously when they have an election and you have a new superintendent, you have a lot of changeover. So all accreditation, anybody, including us, is frozen till 2026 school year, 2027, 2026, 27. Their original intent when they changed the accreditation plan a few years ago was that this was gonna be year 1. And I can't speak to exactly why, but I think they overestimated and they can't meet with all the schools. So the school will be broken into, the state will be broken into thirds, and they will essentially meet with every school during that year. So if you're in the far east side of the state, that'll be a third. The middle section will be a third, and then the far western side will be a third. And I mean, my opinion on that is I don't think they have the staff to actually meet with all the schools or law schools. So just keep that in mind as we look through this. Originally, when we got our accreditation, we were under advice for our second year at the high school. A lot of that has to do with some CTE components. But as you look through all of that, you can see the fun, just the actual OPI site is the first part of that document, but the plan is the second. And so specifically looking at reviewers' notes, working to build our plan off of that. And so one of the huge components, which I don't think is a surprise based on our conversation this summer as well, but how important our graduate profile is and developing that. And so really working to develop our graduate profile. The good news about this is I'm targeting a year, but we actually have a little bit longer to actually have everything locked in, but I would prefer to have everything locked in by the end of this year. Graduate profile, proficiency-based learning, and curriculum review. So state is moving to proficiency-based, and elementary elementary classes are generally more easily, I mean, they're already, most elementary teachers already live in a proficiency-based world. If you can read, if you can move on, you're going to do this problem. As we move into junior high and high school, oftentimes proficiency gets left by the wayside for you fail the test or you pass the test and it added this to your grade, a grade versus proficiency. Do you actually know anything in that? So this is going to give us a chance to work on those pieces and work on building, especially across the board, our 7-12 through towards a proficiency-based assessment, if you will, which again goes hand in hand with our graduate profile assessment plan. What is our currently, and we're not the only district by any means, but how do we? Yeah, I guess I'd say that when you look at that second hand on there, how do we know a kid knows something? I mean, when they're graduating, how do we know what they know? When they're leaving 8th grade, how do we know what they know? When they're leaving 5th grade, how do we know what they know? And so working to develop what that data looks like and how we can see that data, put it up on board and be able to give ourselves a score on that is part of this process for us as well. PD plan, working, and we're in a good spot that go to, part of that was they wanted the PD plan that's listed online, but getting more public involved in the professional development. So jumping back to your graduate profile, looking at like how those committees, the graduate profile should not be developed by us. It shouldn't be developed by the school board and us. It shouldn't be developed by myself. It shouldn't be developed by myself, the teachers and us. It should be developed by the community. And so that profile tied to proficiency-based should guide our professional development as we continue to move and shift. Mentorship program, good news is we've already addressed that. I mean, we did not have a mentorship program according to the state in place, so we have that in place now as part of our collective bargaining. But the collective bargaining was not, it was not finalized before we submitted our accreditation information. So that's good. School climate, working on climate. Again, those pieces are those. I really appreciated some of, as I worked through that, we can think about school climate and we've had some great conversations about that, but highlighting that working to create a school climate committee in the sense of, like, you've got staff on board with that, you've got community on board, you've got the board. The climate is not any one of our, it's not in control of any one of us. It's in control of all of us. And so working to do that and some of those pieces that go along with that. Obviously a mix of with the reading grant, but BAR on the other, on the high school end of this, coming downward is a big component of A, the competency piece, but B, the relationship and the climate piece. On a side note, that Miss Walker is our BAR coordinator as well as our lead teacher in the high school, and so she has had the opportunity to meet with BAR. She has every week she meets with them on Tuesday in the afternoon and prepping that plan, prepping where we're going, working through some of the details. I drop in on those, but I'm not in on all of those. And that big kickoff is the 23rd and 24th. So just remember that that's where we shifted the professional development days. So we have that full day. We have Thursday, but then we have a full day Friday on that. So the last, and so this, our improvement plan has to have gone in front of the board. And so the agenda was put in there, but then the board has to be aware of it and not like so.
So we still need to make a motion now for the program.
We do. You have to make a motion that we make.
So, identify responsible parties and deadlines for corrective action, and that's superintendent and board chair. So what is my role in that?
Where you want.
The second page. Behind the agenda. item. Where you filled it out, I think. Yeah.
So that's this process right here, like approving, like making sure it's happening. It's my job to make sure it happens. It's your job to make sure. It's our job to make sure that it's happening, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So if we wouldn't, then the first people that are coming say, hey, what's going on? They're coming to you.
Gotcha.
That's why I should have put you first.
So the letter in here from Susie, she's got some links. Is that where we would find the requirements? Because these items, like these topics, we've talked about numerous times, and I think as a trustee, especially if we're being held accountable, I'd really like to know what is required of us to ensure it's being followed through. I mean,
Those are all links to,
does that tell us what, like, where do we find, I guess, where do we find like that this was required and it didn't happen? Like, how do we know what's required? Because they might add something that maybe we don't have that program, like say a mentorship in our school. They may add that, like, how do we keep up with that, I guess is my question.
so those links have, similar to some of the things we've talked about today, those links are the law that
The
goes
law.
along with it.
Okay.
Is there any place though that actually has isn't there like 9 components, you know what I'm talking about, where you had to go to all your uploads? Is there like, these are the 9 things that they're
That's what
looking
I
at
was-
from you?
So the biggest thing on that is there's a rubric, you would want to see the rubric.
Okay,
Because the law is not gonna help,
right.
it's,
That's gonna make it worse, I
the
feel
rubric
like.
they created behind it is no more relevant.
So is this something that we as a board should review annually?
Well,
I mean, now that we have a plan in place now, we have to keep up with it, which I understand, but my fear is that we're gonna miss something, like a new requirement or a new component, and to try to do it within the timeframe established instead of having to create a corrective action plan, I guess.
So the reason, yes, we absolutely should have, this is gonna be, provided they get it on going, they
Yeah.
expect you'll be reviewed every 3rd year. So year 1, this is your year 2, year 3, you're back here. So that way they're rolling through the state for continuous improvement. It is something, we should be looking at, I do think that it's something we should be looking at every year.
But they need to continue to require our uploads, like the actual formal process.
No, they will require, well, I'm gonna say no, but the rules might change. They require us, so like, we were supposed to be up this year. And so we were heavy on this stuff. We would be going through this process, they would be looking at their new documentation, they'd be looking for all that stuff. Then over the next 2 years, we would be, keeping track of that information. I hate to say, like, keeping a folder of all that information, but keeping track of that information. And then year 3, we'd be putting it back in again, doing it all over again. We were up to the first rotation. The question is, will we be up to the first rotation when they bump it another to 2026? That hasn't been decided, unless I hear something different at superintendent's meeting, which I'll let you know. That's the meeting, the minute of information we have was going to be delayed, and then they would figure out the rotation after that.
Any other discussion?
I think that was it. Thank you.
I will tell you, I want the board to make sure you're really aware of this. Accreditation is one of those dangerous things where, you can check the boxes, that's why you want the board, you want the staff involved. Because if you can check the boxes and if they're not really following through, which Montana has not been great about, that's why they're shifting it. You can do what you need to do without ever being honest about it. I mean, and so if you're gonna use it as a guide to actually really try to continuous improvement, then it's important to look at it that way. To just say, because I went through this process looking at it, having been on accreditation teams in other schools around the country. Yeah, you can check the boxes, but that doesn't mean you're doing it. So it's more important for us to get to that point. I'd rather be a 2 working on it than a 4, just checking the box.
I move that we approve the corrective plan for accreditation. Did you ask for a motion?
No, is there any public comment? Public comment?
I thought you did already a long time ago.
Is there any motions? Rena made a motion.
I'll second her motion.
Rena made the motion to approve the accreditation plan as presented. Dee second the motion. Is there any public comment? Public comment? Rena made the motion to approve the corrective plan as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Climbing wall.
Okay, so you have information in front of you. 2 pieces to the puzzle that we budgeted for climbing wall fill in the elementary gym. On top of that, we were applied and got a grant to $2,000 grant on top of that. And so that climbing wall will be on the south side of the gym. Under the overhang, it'll go 10 feet up in the air, and it'll go.
On the east side. South side, sorry. I'll not correct
I'm gonna
you.
say, I think it's south side, isn't it?
South,
Yeah, so,
east, west.
I'm
well, I'm
excellent
thinking
on
about
outside
having
of
that,
really
thing. Okay,
suck
so
on
then,
The side, it
Yeah, so
actually,
we've
it actually
done
faces the
the
east.
door side, the east side, I guess, yeah. Yeah, it'll be, so it's 10 feet tall, so it does not require, ropes, anything over 10 feet requires ropes, and so it's called a traverse wall. And it's where you wanna start from, and then as we have kids and adults and different things involved in it, we have the ability to build kind of a more technical piece where they could go up over, overhang up over the balcony. But we'll take one step at a time. It's pretty exciting. The wall that we're getting is also magnetic and not magnetic, but the holes are magnetic, but the underlayment on the boards that go up are magnetic, so that classes can use that. And so things can be stuck to the wall, like, there's just so many kids that come to mind, like, I could walk a kid through a math problem on the wall, and they're climbing through the wall, and they're sticking those things on the wall, just magnetically stick. So you have a way to use it in other cross-curricular stuff as well as kids. The 10 feet piece adds the component that allows us to have adults on it. When it's not in use, it hits up the mats. So the mats are on the floor, so if somebody falls, they don't get hurt, but then the mats automatically go up up against it. So when it's not in use, it's not in use. During games and whatnot, and it's covered and not in use. Pretty exciting, pretty cool thing. Excited for our kids to have another. Climbing is just another one of those things that is a lifelong thing that kids can do their whole life if they get into it.
Question, what did insurance say about that one? Did we run it by an insurance company?
Think about it.
That might be good. And then, like for adults, I'm wondering, trying to think about the forms that were completed for anybody that got the cards, if maybe this would need to be an addition on there, for liability.
Just to know that, yeah.
But I would be interested to just make sure that insurance is okay with it and what our options are, because sometimes they have specifics on what they'll cover and whatnot, so.
Any other?
That's exciting, that sounds like a great addition.
Any public comment? Public comment? Is there a motion?
I would move to table this until we get information on insurance and have a meeting, like a special meeting if necessary, so it doesn't get held up till next month.
When we talked about this, was there a timeline?
No,
Or
I
something?
well, I don't
Okay.
think so.
I'll just go down the scholarship.
So you made the motion?
I did make a motion, do you want me to repeat it?
No, I think I got it.
Okay, do you want me to repeat it, Brittany? Nope. Okay,
Is there a second?
A second.
Is there any discussion?
Who seconded it?
I did.
Let's
Not read his name.
throw this out there. Is it something that we can approve pending insurance? Or do you want insurance to come back to you and then decide?
I would prefer to know what they say, because sometimes they have stipulations on like options, like if you do this, or you might have to have this safety requirement, or I'd like to see what their specifications are. That would be what I would prefer.
Is the wall here? Is it?
No.
Has it been, okay, so we're not holding anything up.
No,
Okay.
it will come from Georgia is where they
Any public comment? Public comment? Sam made the motion to table and run it by insurance and see what they have to say. Did you, so I was right. And also to see if anything needs to be added as far as our card users for the.
Correct.
Rena second the motion. All those in favor say aye.
I
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I think technical problems.
Oh, just log Bronson off.
Okay.
I forgot to tell you that Dave called in, but